I'm live. Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Guitarducation. It's a weird word. Anyway, so I'm going to show you the ins and outs of learning the guitar. So, first things first, we're going to learn to tune our guitar strings. There's 6 strings on the guitar. There's the thickest string on the top, closest to your face, and the thinnest string on the bottom, closest to your legs. So I like to start from the thickest string. That's actually a lie. I like to start from the thinnest string, but it actually doesn't really matter where you start from as long as all the strings get tuned. I usually start from the thinnest string. I don't know why I lied to you. First piece of info on the bat, and I start off with a lie. Okay, so we're gonna tune. I have my handy dandy tuner here. It's handy and it's dandy. It's called Uber Tuning. It's by Click, Kliq. It's a clip-on tuner. It's a little bit easier to tune as opposed to like a pedal tuner that you have to plug an input and an output in with a 1/4-inch cable. Anyway, we'll get into that. It's not a big deal, but we're going to start with the thinnest string, which is the high. It's called the high E, and ironically, it's on the bottom of the guitar neck. So the high E is on the bottom of the guitar neck because the pitch of the string is higher. So that's what it sounds like. I'm going to actually turn down the volume just because you don't really need to hear the harshness of the string while we're tuning. That sounds about right. That looks good. So when the string is in tune, I don't know if you could see that. It looks like this. Let's see if we could see this. So it looks like that. It's right in the middle of the tuner. Most tuners will be about the same. You can get what's called a snark, which is a great tuner. Also, it's a clip-on tuner, and it'll have a little line in the middle that'll show you exactly when it's perfectly in tune. So my high E string is good. Now we're going to go up to the. I'm actually going to lower this just a little bit so you could see my guitar just a bit more. Hang on, just a tick, love. There we go. All right. So we're on the high E string. Sounds good to me. Also looks good according to my tuner. So now we're going to go above to the. Let's get this out of the way here so that you can actually see what's happening. Let's be a little professional, shall we? Shall we? We shall. I'm going to edit this later so that it's all good in the hood. Now, I didn't go over the tuning pegs, so that would be something to go over. So we're going to do that. So we have the high E string here, which the peg on the bottom that's closest to the neck here is the peg that goes with the high E string. Now we're going to move to our left counterclockwise. We're going to move to our left concerning the peg. And here, let's go right in front of the camera there. So we're moving to our left. We're going to be here for the B string. Now, you don't have to memorize the names of the strings just yet. We're just going to tune them up really quickly. So we have a B. That looks good to me. It's in the middle, just like I showed you before with the E string. Now we're going to go once again to the left, and we're moving up the strings. So we were here. Now we're here. And now we're coming up to the G string. Okay, that's a little bit flat. So I'm actually going to turn, by flat, I mean that it's not quite in the center. It's leaning at about 10 o'clock. So I want it to be at 12 o'clock. Let's see, it's leaning at about 10 o'clock. So I want it to be at about 12 o'clock. So I'm going to turn it, I'm going to be turning it clockwise. Just a little bit. You don't have to go too crazy. You don't want to turn it too much, otherwise it'll tighten it too much. Now I'm right in the center at 12 o'clock, so that's good. We're going to do this twice over just to double check. So now we finished with the G string, which was down here. Now we're going to move counterclockwise to the D string. So we're at the top of the tuning pegs and we're at the very far end um, over here. So we're tuning the D string, and my D string sounds good, looks good. So now we're going to go to the counterclockwise to the A tuning peg. A tuning peg again, once again, is right here. I'm being a little bit redundant just for the beginners. So bear with me. I apologize. Uh, A seems good. Now we're at the low E string, and ironically, the low E string is at the top of the neck. So here we go. I'm a little bit sharp, actually. So now I want to loosen. I'm going to go also clockwise. Now it changes. Once you get to the top tuning pegs, clockwise is loosening. The bottom tuning pegs, clockwise is tightening. So counterclockwise is loosening on the bottom tuning pegs, and on the top tuning pegs, clockwise is loosening. I hope that makes sense. Once again, top tuning pegs, clockwise, loosening. Bottom tuning pegs, clockwise, tightening. So if it's sharp, it's more towards like the 1 o'clock area, or even if it's really sharp, it'll be like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and then you really have to loosen that string to get to 12 o'clock. Okay, so far we've tuned all of the strings starting from the high E string over here to the low E string here. We're going to do it again just to double check, because normally the first time tuning, it takes the neck a bit to adjust to the correct temperament and tuning. I don't know if temperament's the right word. I just wanted to sound smart. Sorry. E sounds good. B sounds good. And by sounds, I mean looks, because I'm actually looking at something. I'm not just listening. I'm not doing it by ear. But that's okay. We make mistakes sometimes. We say the wrong words, and it's quite all right, isn't it? Isn't it, ladies and germs? It is. Okay. Now, see, at that point, my low E string, which is on the top once again, is a little bit was a little bit flat this time, so I have to tighten it and go counterclockwise on the top. Okay. So now that we've tuned our strings, we want to learn the names of the strings just so that we know where to put our fingers when we're learning chords or melodies too, right? Because usually we count the frets, right? So we want to make sure that we're not just counting the strings; they actually have like a legitimate name to them. So I've learned this acronym from a colleague that I was working with in a school. It's actually, I kind of like it. It starts from the very top of the neck here. I know that I started tuning from the bottom. It really doesn't matter. You can start tuning from the top as well, but we're at the low E string. So this is the top string here, the thickest string. And we're going to label that Eric. Eric, the name Eric starts with an E. Then we have the next string is A. So we're going to label that 8. A-T-E, 8. Eric, 8. So he's a growing boy. He needs to eat, Eric, 8. What did he eat? He ate dynamite for D. I'm going to actually turn up the volume on the guitar here. He ate dynamite. So far we have Eric, 8, dynamite. Then the fourth string down would be G. So I'm going to label that good. The next string down is B. So goodbye. And the next string down is E again. So goodbye, Eric. Eric ate dynamite. Goodbye. Oops, I messed up there. Eric ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eric. Okay. So that is the name of our strings. Next thing that we want to learn is the musical alphabet. So there's a tricky little thing that happens with the musical alphabet where it starts on an A, right? We go from A and then we end on G. There's no notes that are labeled X or Y or Z or anything down at the end of the alphabet. It's all kind of located towards the beginning of the alphabet, and so it's A through G. So if you notice, the second string down is actually an A string. So I want to actually go through the musical alphabet just on this A string. So it's the second string down. And what we're going to do is we're going to play all the notes that have no sharps or no flats. You don't have to know what that means just yet. We're just going to play the notes that are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it starts over, right? So let's say, for instance, this note is G. It's not actually down here is G. I apologize. So let's say, for instance, this note is G, which it is. Once we get to G, we start back over and we go to A. Now, every single note, every interval, or every the distance between each note, so A, B, is 2 frets away. So if we're here on the open string, we count 1, 2, and that's our B. A, B. Now, there's another acronym that I like to use, which is it gives us the exception to this rule, because every single relationship between the notes that are right next to one another, so A and B, B and C, D and E, etc., are 2 frets away, except for 2 sets of those intervals. And those sets are B and C and E and F. So I like to think of the acronym because everyone farts. And everyone does. Girls, boys, they, thems, all folks fart. We all pass gas. So that's a good way to remind us that B and C are 1 fret away from one another, and E and F are 1 fret away from one another. So let's go through. We're gonna, as long as the interval isn't BC or EF, it's going to be 2 frets away, meaning 2 frets forward. So A, open string, right? 1, 2, B. Oh, because, right? So because if we want to get to C from B, we just have to go 1 fret. C, C, D, 2 frets, 1, 2. So there's our D. D, E, 2 frets, 1, 2. So there's our E. E, F, everyone farts, so only 1 fret. E, F, 1 fret, right? F, G, 2 frets, 1, 2. And then G, back to G, A, same thing, just 2 frets, 1, 2. So let's do that without actually, without counting every single fret, right? So instead of going A, B, A, 1, 2, right? We're just going to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Okay, very good. Now we're learning all the musical alphabet and the intervals that follow. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Now let's go backwards. Let's go A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. I might be going a little bit fast for some of the beginners. Let's go a little slower. So we're going to go on the 12th fret here. We're at A. If you notice, the 12th fret has these double dots, right? So that's a good marker for you. You could just know that. Now we're at the 12th fret on the A string, A. We're going to go backwards 2 frets to G. Now we're going to go backwards 2 frets to F. Now farts. Oh, everyone farts, or farts everyone, since we're going backwards. So we have to just go back 1 fret to get to E. Right? And now we're back to our regular 2 frets away. So before E comes D. Before D comes C. Cause. Excuse me, I cracked. Cause. Because. So we're at C now. So now we remember because everyone farts. So we have our C here. and we're going to go backwards 1 fret to our B, and then we just have to go backwards 2 frets to get to open A, right? The open A actually isn't, if you notice, the open strings don't actually have a fret. We don't need to fret anything with our left hand at all. We can just keep it open. So it's kind of like the 0, right? 0, here's fret 1, and here's fret 2. Okay? So now we learned how to count the musical alphabet throughout the fretboard, well, throughout the A string at the very least. I think we're ready to move on to learning certain chords. So since we're on the A string, I figured a good thing to do would be learn maybe an A minor chord. So that would be this chord right here. What we're going to do is we're going to actually take our thumb and we're going to mute the low E string, the low frequency E string here, and we're going to take our middle finger and we're going to place it on the 2nd fret of the D string. Now, if you're at the very beginning here and you want to do the acronym, Eric 8 Dynamite, 2nd fret, middle finger. So we have to go, okay, middle finger, 2nd fret, 1, 2. Okay. Now you want to arch your finger just a little bit here so that you leave room and you're not scraping against the not scraping, but you're not kind of leaving room for the other strings to sound out. Otherwise, you're going to get this. Right? So if we lift this up just a little bit, we arch it. Let's see if we can show you here. We arch it just like that. We leave room for the a little back further. We leave room for the other strings to sound out. So we have our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, Eric 8 Dynamite, 1, 2, middle finger. All right, it's a little convoluted. There's a bunch of different steps that have to go into playing chords, but I think that this is the fun part. I would say this is the part where you kind of actually start to get involved a little bit more, and you start to feel accomplished. So we have to start taking this in stride here. So the next finger that we're going to work on is the ring finger. So focus on that ring finger. We're going to keep our middle finger down on the 2nd fret of the D string, Eric 8 Dynamite. Now we're going to take our ring finger, we're going to put it on the 2nd fret just below our middle finger on the G string, Eric 8 Dynamite, good. So 2nd fret just below it. Okay? Just like that. So far we have this. Actually, that sounds kind of nice too. If you just want to leave it like that, that works too. But some people may want to go a little bit further and play the actual A minor chord. That's not quite an A minor chord yet. We have to do something with this pointer finger here. And the pointer finger will actually go on the 1st fret of the B string. Eric 8 Dynamite, goodbye. So we're going to go to the 1st fret of the B string and put our pointer finger down. Now, if your fingers aren't angled enough, you might hear something like this. So if that's the case, that's okay. It's a normal thing to happen. Just try and lift all your fingers up and leave a little bit more space in between there. You want basically you want your pinky to be able to fit in there. Just about, depending on how fat your pinky is. I have a pretty fat pinky, so sometimes it doesn't fit exactly, but yeah. So that's what it should sound like, and we're muting. I don't know why I said muting. We're muting the low E string with our thumb here at the low E strings. Right? If it wasn't muted, it would sound like this. It doesn't sound terrible, but it kind of muddies up the chord a little bit. So we want to make sure we're muting that string. Sounds nice and clean, like that, right? Very good. So we have our A minor under our belt. Let's play around with that a little bit. Let's play quarter notes. Now, what a quarter note is it's like a pulse to a song. So we're going to take our right hand here and we're going to strum. We want to strum in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really hard to strum in time slowly. Without breaking up the rhythm in between each strum. So we could think of quarter notes as a little slower. 1, 2, 4. Now, if that's too slow, we can speed it up a bit, right? We can go. Oh, sorry about that. 1, 2, 4. So we can speed that up a bit. We can speed it up even more. 1, 2, 4. What we can do now is we can go back to the slower speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can insert other notes in between those strums, right? So for each strum, we're going down, and then there's a silent up, right? We're not doing anything on the upstroke. There's no strings that are being struck when we're coming back up with our right hand, right? So instead of just being silent on the way up, we can actually hit the strings again. We can go down, up, down, up. Say 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and those are called eighth notes. Makes sense because we're just adding another note for each number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So those are eighth notes. We could do eighth notes a little bit quicker. We could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I messed up a little bit. Let me lower my guitar just a bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So those are eighth notes. We could also do what's called 16th notes. These are going to be twice as fast as the eighth notes. So if our speed is 1, 2, 3, 4 for quarter notes, and our speed is 1, 2, 3, 4 for eighth notes. For 16th notes, it will be 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm saying the wrong intervals, sorry, or the wrong rhythms. Instead of 1 and 2, and it's going to be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Nothing's wrong. It's just there is a certain uniform way that we count 16th notes, and that's 1 for the first strum would be 1 and 1 E and so 1 E and if we do that 4 times, that's 4 times 4 equals 16. That's right. So 16th notes. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Okay. So next we are going to look at we can keep going. We could do 30-second notes, but honestly, most people just deal with quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. That's actually not true. We can even go slower. We can go slower than quarter notes, where we can just strum every two quarter notes. We could strum 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can do that. We can strum a half note. That's called a half note, right? When we do 2 quarter notes, we call that a half note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. We wait for 2 quarter notes to pass for each strum. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do also, we can get creative. We can strum 1 half note and then 4 eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, and 4. And we could do this. We could mix it up. We could do 1/2 note, 2/8 notes, and um, one grouping of 16th notes. We could, so that would sound like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? What else? So yeah, so far we have our A minor chords. We went over the musical alphabet. We went over some interval stuff. Because everyone farts, all the rest of the intervals of the musical alphabet are 2 frets away. Because is 1 fret away. Everyone farts is 2 frets away. That's a lot of information. We went over the names of the strings. Eric ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eric. We went over how to tune the guitar. So I'm going to leave you at that for now. I appreciate you checking out the stream, and I will see you next time.